All right. So usually if we wanted to do something, make an adjustment to that layer, say we wanted to change the color of the hat, all right, from blue to red, let's just say. Usually what method would we use? Anybody?
Oh, adjustment layers, hue saturation. Oh no, I understand what you're saying there.
All right.
I was lost, man. Sorry.
The hue saturation, right? Adjustments. So again, adjustments, we go image, adjustments, and hue saturation.
Why is that down as I was thinking of something else?
Right. Now, we could select blues. Now, that's probably not the best way to do it. We could refine that a bit. But let's just select the blues and let's just change the hue to get the color to change to, say we wanted a green hat. Let's just make it a green hat. Right?
So,
yes.
Oh, it target the hat as well. It does target in the hat. It just target in the hat.
Target in the color.
It targeting blues in the entire document, not the hat. So if it's blue, it would target.
Yeah, no, sir.
As a matter of fact, let me see.
So any color, any object that has that similar color would just change to that shade of green, or
not that shade of green. It would change depending on the intensity of the color.
Type of green.
Yes,
Yeah. Type of blue.
It would change to that shade of green. Yeah.
So if you take red, it will change every red. If you change yellow, it will change every yellow.
Right. So it provides us an easy way to make that change. I'm going to click OK. Right. And we've successfully changed the hat to green. Right, GK?
Yeah.
It would be the rasterized gang way of doing it. Without any, you just cross the bridge, and then each bridge you cross, you burn it.
But your stuff needs to be rasterized. You cannot do it to smart object.
No, well, that is a rasterized image. That's a pixel-based raster image.
I know I asking you, I can see, but I asking you.
If what? What are you asking?
If you can do hue saturation on a smart image, of course, right?
With an adjustment layer.
Oh, but you can yeah, with adjustment layer. Right. Like the hue sat, like the normal image.
Okay, so hold on. Understand what a smart object is. A smart object will not allow you to change the pixels of the image it contains. What we just did there, we changed the pixels, the original pixels. A smart object would preserve the pixels so that we couldn't do that to it.
Oh,
you understand? So that regardless of what we do to the smart object, the original image is what the smart object preserves in itself. And whatever change you make to the smart object does not affect your original content.
But it can be changed.
But it can be changed, yes.
Oh, okay.
So in that case, I duplicated the layer specifically because if I didn't duplicate it and I had applied that effect, I would not be able to go back without losing some form of data. In other words, the hat in that case does not even know that at one point it was blue.
Right.
Right, so you cannot go back to blue. You can make it blue again by applying a hue and saturation again, but then each time you do that, you drop the quality of the object.
Okay.
Right, you see how it's a little bit messy, even though it's mostly changed. We still have a little bit of areas where it still has some blue, right? So if we go change it to green again, it's never gonna be as clean, and every time we change, we lose some quality. So to avoid that, we would use an adjustment layer. And let me illustrate how we do that. I'm going to make the layer that I adjusted invisible. And we can create a new adjustment layer by clicking on the adjustment layer button right here on our layers palette. Everybody sees that? Right. We click. It asks us for what sort of adjustment layer we want to create. And we know we want to create a hue and saturation adjustment layer right now. Right? We click on it, we get the properties for that, which is the exact same options that we would get if we had clicked in the image adjustments and hue saturation to get the hue saturation dialog box. Then we can select blues and make our color changes that way. So let's assume that that's the green you wanted. Let me see.
Let me ask you an advanced question. You can answer me.
Yes.
What if I'm working in 3 different images? Can I isolate that adjustment there?
Yes, if you're working in 3 different images. So again, let me illustrate.
Just again.
Let me show you something.
You can just duplicate it twice. That's fine.
No, I want to do something else anyway, so I'll kill two birds with one stone. So what if I didn't select blues, right? I use master, which will affect all of the colors on the document, right? And I tweak it till I get the hat, the color I want it. So that's the color I want my hat, right?
Right.
But look at the effect of that hue saturation adjustment on the rest of my image. It basically ruined the rest of my image.
Yeah, you got mask it up.
Right. So to fix that, notice we already have a mask built into our adjustment layer. We simply need to select the mask and edit it. So we know to edit to the mask, we simply paint with black to hide, right? And we paint on the image that we don't want. Sorry, I get excited. Let me go with a smaller brush. All right, and we mask off the parts of the image that we don't want to be affected by the adjustment layer. So we're essentially making a mask on the adjustment layer to make it visible only in the parts of the image that we want it to be. And again, my computer lagging a little behind me, and I have a small brush. In the interest of time, does everybody understand that, basically?
Yeah.
But
Yes,
so
sir.
boy, honestly, what I'll do,
Uh-huh.
after I apply the hue saturation to, I'll select the hat, isolate it from the background layer, and then after apply the clipping mask, so it can only affect the hat.
Yeah, you could apply a clipping mask, or hold on, let me go back a little bit, right? You could have also, let's use the quick selection tool and just make a quick selection of the hat. And just subtract that part right there. Sorry, it's not happening so quick. Anyway, that's good enough. We get the general idea. All right, so what you could do is also select it like that, right? Let's go select inverse. So you could have masked it before, or you could have masked it in a different way. I was just using the brush to illustrate, but you could have masked it quicker using a selection or using any one of the other options that we've gone through before as well. Yeah. So you're right.
Clipping mask is not.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I only use a clipping mask.
The clipping mask could have worked as well again, but with the clipping mask, you would have had to, when you select the hat, you would have had to put it in a new layer by itself.
You have to put in a new layer. You can't clip it.
Then you could clip
a selection.
the adjustment layer to it.
What about my question now?
Go ahead. What's your question again?
What if I'm working with more than one image, like, and I put an adjustment layer? Doesn't it affect the one below? That's what I was asking. Like, if I have two images there and I put an adjustment layer,
layer will affect all of the layers below it in the layer.
right? So is there a way to isolate that? That's what I was asking.
Yes, again, you could isolate it with a mask. Let me see if I can get you
A mask?
an example. Yeah, a mask. The same thing that we were doing, a mask. Let me open up a file. And I'm trying to find a suitable file. All right, let me find it. I see they have something.
Oh, man.
All right. So if you're working with that has multiple layers, right? Quite a bit. If I apply an adjustment layer, let's say hue saturation, that's what we're dealing with for now, right? And I can make it affect the entire, all of the image, basically. Now, it's not having much of an effect that you can see on the white and on the black areas, but all of the other color in the image you can see is being affected. Right?
Right.
So now your question is, how can you isolate that? And you're not sure how a mask can help you with that?
Okay. Okay. You see, you want a kind of a difficult, you want a kind of a complicated thing. I don't know why you want a complicated thing. You should have just stay on the image I was talking
Okay,
about.
hold on.
Right.
On
Okay,
that
so
image,
okay, see your background image?
my background image.
Unlock it. All right, and duplicate it. Yeah, that's what I was asking. So right now,
Hold on.
yeah,
Come on. All right. Tell me.
right. Okay, so right now we have two images. Just imagine that's two different images, right?
Yes.
In other words, to make it even better, make one bigger than the other.
Yeah. Let me just cut half of one. So
Yeah.
one have the head, one don't have the head.
Right, perfect. Right, so let's say I put my layer mask on top of that.
I mean, an adjustment layer on top of that.
Yeah, sorry, my adjustment layer. The use saturation on top of that, right? Just put out any color, the general thing. No, is there a way that you know that can be isolated on only one of the layers on the below?
Yes.
That's what I was asking.
Okay, so to isolate it on only one layer, easy, create a clipping mask. Look at on the bottom part. So we create a clipping mask and we clip it to the that half of the image, which is remember we cut out the top other one, and it is not affecting the other one, which is
okay, so that's the way, all right.
Yeah. So that way you isolate it on one image. But if you don't have a clipping mask, what happens is it affects layers below it in the layers palette.
Yeah. Everything below it, right?
Everything below it. Now, again, we have that is two different layers there. And if we create the clipping mask, for instance, we know that our line, our separation is here. Yeah, right?
So in other words, if you just hide that second layer, everything should disappear.
The second layer?
Oh no, the second layer right now, like yeah.
Oh, this one, the second one.
Yeah.
If we hide the second layer, no, right now it's not clipped, so it's affecting everything.
Like while it's clipped.
While it's clipped, yes. While it's clipped, if we hide the second layer, the effect of whatever is clipped in it would completely be nullified. Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Now, just to again illustrate that we can use multiple layers, right? So we know one layer stops there, but we can mask across both of them seamlessly. Everybody sees that? So again, hold on this one. See, we have part of it masked there and part of the mask effect. Well, the entire thing on the other one. All right, but that is how we constrict adjustment layers. Everybody understand in general what is an adjustment layer and how we apply at least the hue saturation adjustment layer? Any questions on that one?
Yeah, I get it.
All right.
So
The very basic part.
Yes.
is there a single one which is better in terms of like quality?
When you say a single one, a single what?
Like I know like the hue saturation for the entire image would give a different look. Make it a selection of what you want to get the saturation on, but is there one that would get a better looking
a better looking effect, like a recoloring effect?
Yeah.
You mean, hold on, let me.
Like capturing as many pixels as possible.
Okay, quite possibly, yes. Let me just see if I can figure out what you're saying. So let me go back to my original one where we changed the hat to green. And the question you're asking is if we could have done that better.
Yeah, because I as you said before, the little blue outline
Yeah, the blue,
it's still there.
still
but,
there.
To change the entire image with the hue saturation.
All of the little parts. Okay, I understand. First of all, consider that the dark parts like here were there already, right? It's just that they were tinted slightly blue, so you still see the little tint of blue, but they were still dark. You see it, right?
Yeah.
The way to get it changed better would be to spend more time on it. So in other words, rather than just selecting blues, we would select the hat better. In other words, we would start with a better selection. Does that make sense?
So manually making the selection would make the better quality.
Exactly. You would have to make a manual selection because at that point where it starts getting dark here, it's no longer blue. It's like a navy blue. And our hue saturation dialog box will not allow us to select navy blue. So we need to open our eyes now and say, well, that is a little bit of blue. I want that in my selection, right? So again, I'm using the quick selection tool, but it might be that you need to come with your lasso tool and select all of the relevant parts. And it might also mean that after you make your selection, you might need to, you might need to refine your selection, right? One way or another, either using the legacy option, right? Or, either using the legacy refine edge or the select and mask to refine your edge, the same way that I believe we went through it when we were looking at the tiger, your model tiger thing, right? Right, and you get your selection made as best as you could, right? But then of course, it was just a matter of spending more time on it to get it right, basically.
Oh, and another way, instead of just clicking blue, so you can actually hand pick the color that you want to change.
Well, yeah, I'll actually get to that in a little while. But so let me show you. If we, all right. Come on. Okay, well, forgive me. I still end up making a little boo-boo with the selection. But anyway, I created a mask with it, right? And so Chris, you wanted a better way to change it. If it's a flat color, let me show you another way. It might not be a better way. So that you can still use the hue saturation. Actually, let's do the adjustment layer since that's what we're doing today, rather than stray off topic. Let's use the adjustment layer. And this time, rather than changing the color of the blues, you would change master, right? But master now would affect everything. So we get the green. That's going close. So the areas that was a little bit bluish, right? Notice it's actually changing. Well, we're not seeing it so much, but it's actually changing slightly with our color, right? So for instance, the area that was navy blue is now like a forest or dark green. So we actually don't need to do any tweaking on it right there again. Did you see that, Krish?
Yeah. So basically,
and well, and of course, we have, because we have the layer isolated, we would with a clipping mask to make it just the cap.
Okay. So no matter which method you take, the time put in is the output, determines the output.
Usually, yes. The more time you spend editing a document is the better the output, assuming that your time was used productively and not going around in circles.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions on that? Pretty straightforward enough, right? Okay. So we understand what the adjustment layer does. And again, to reiterate, This layer, I made an adjustment, meaning I went to image adjustments and I did hue saturation to the pixels on the layer. And I changed the pixels that were previously blue to green on that layer. That means I can never go back. I basically destructively edited that layer, right? The way to do it constructively or non-destructively would be to use an adjustment layer, right? And make the very same change that we would using hue saturation, and we have a non-destructive edit. So the difference is, if this one, we could never go back to what we once was with the destructive edit. With the non-destructive edit, all we need to do is remove the effect of the adjustment layer and we have our original layer back, our original content. Everybody get the value of an adjustment layer?
Yeah.
Right.
Pretty useful.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Is another blow to the rasterized gang, because GK would suggest you get the colors just right so that you don't ever need to change it again on the hat. So when you change it once, you change it forever, right? But then this year, my theme color for my party might be green. Next year, I might want it to be, hold on. Let me go back to it. So we adjust the greens, no, the blues. Right. So this year, the color of my, no, let's go. Last year, the color of my theme, right, was blue. So I took a photo, I had a blue hat. This year, the theme is green. I don't want to take another photo. I want to use the exact same photo. I just change the color of the hat to green, right? Next year, the color is whatever color this is, right? Purple. I can actually just go edit my adjustment layer and make the change right there without doing too much work again, right? So it allows you to go in and make changes to your work without having to start working again from scratch. Right? That is the benefit of non-destructive editing. That's the benefit of smart objects. That is the benefit of adjustment layers. Okay? It allows you to save time in editing. Any questions?
Oh, you jump in ship plenty, Papa.
The what? The what?
You jump in ship plenty?
I jump in ship plenty?
Yeah.
How you mean?
Every year is a different color.
Oh, well, I mean, every year we do have a different theme for independence and a different logo for independence. And yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
true. The color code always
not really jumping
changing,
ship.
so.
We're just switching up. Our business might be one that is not color based. So for instance, Nike, you cannot say, well, Nike's logo is white or black. It's usually white or black, but you can wear it in any color. Right?
Nike that was color scheme.
Exactly.
Anything.
You can get the orange and blue, you can get a green and red. So
Red and blue.
the colors should always be able to change. It should always be fluid. That is why you never want to rasterize and use a fixed destructive form of editing on your graphics.
I always like to go back because
fluid.
Say me tell you why I does design non-destructively, because sometimes I had to do a gospel show and the organizer tell me, Terry, you still have that now? I say, yes, I have it there. I just go inside and just do a few changes, bam, bam, bam. And that was it.
Exactly. If you had done it destructively, you'd have to go ahead again, design the new flyer from scratch just to make one single change on it.
And she needed it now for now.
Exactly. So again, when you are able to deliver on those kind of response times, your client finds that you have more value. Not just that.
Right.
Whereas you would only be able to charge them X amount, right? If you had to redo the whole thing and get it back to them in 5 hours,
right?
It's actually worth more now that you can give it to them in half an hour.
Yeah.
You understand? So you actually able to do less work and get paid more because you provided more value. Okay? Anyway, that's sort of a different topic for a different day.
But it have its benefits, man.
It
It have
does.
its benefits.
It does. I hope GK taking notes. I see you not even there. All right. So let us look at how we will again modify an adjustment layer after we apply it. Right. So to reiterate, we changed from blue to green to pink or purple, whatever that is. If we want to change back to green, everybody got it already? How do we change back to green?
Let's go on the saturation.
We could actually double click on
Double
the
click on it.
adjustment layer right here, right? And what that would do is that would bring up the properties for that layer, the adjustment layer properties, which is essentially hue saturation, and it gives us the hue saturation dialog box. The value that we were changing is not master, but blues. So notice we have the same value recorded for blue, and we can just slide it all the way back up to get it back to green. Yeah. Or we could put it back to 0 to get it back to our original blue. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're able to use adjustment layers for most of the adjustment options you have on the, sorry, let me just switch layer. You will find under your image and adjustments menu, right? So let's just run through them quickly and then we'll do a couple others. Brightness and contrast is your brightness and contrast, right? Levels, curves and exposure. Well, levels, curves, exposure, and brightness and contrast are basically image adjustments that you would use for photographs, right? Especially when you're dealing with negatives and development.
Yeah, filters, kind of thing.
Right. Vibrance, hue saturation, color balance, black and white, photo filter, channel mixer, color lookup. All of these deals with color, color intensity, changing of colors, and subtracting colors and so on. All right. And then you have your special effects, invert, posterize, threshold, gradient map, selective color, and shadows, highlight, desaturate, match color, replace color. That's your image adjustment. I want you guys to familiarize yourself with these adjustments. And for homework, I want you to find an example. I did have an example set up. I just couldn't find the file in time. But to use free adjustment, adjustment layers, right? So find free images. You could use hue saturation, for instance, to do one. Here's another option for one. Vibrance.
Vibrance. I like vibrance.
Vibrance adjusts the intensity of the colors in an image, right? So for instance, if I were to increase the vibrance, it would make my colors, well, more vibrant or
make it
pop, right? If I were to decrease the vibrance, it would get a more washout effect. Yeah?
Yeah.
And then the saturation is the richness of the color now. We can oversaturate it, or reduction, removal of all saturation is essentially black and white. Right? Now, so we can create an effect, for instance, that looks sort of like, let's go all the way up instead. The highly intense effects.
Instagram filter thatself.
Exactly. Right. So that is the vibrance filter. We increase the vibrance and the saturation all the way. If we wanted to modify that, again, we would double click on the option and it would take us to the properties palette to modify those properties, and we could come all the way back to our original by bringing the settings back to the default, right? Or we could change it to something else. Okay. So adjustment layers, again, what they do is they keep your original layer content intact, right? While making the adjustment that you need in a non-destructive way. Any questions on that?
So that's straightforward.
Color balance, let's try color balance, right? And let's say I didn't like blue at all. Again, well, blue is the brightest color I can see, right? We could adjust the midtones And again, these are options, these are ways that you can modify any image. So pay attention and use them on your images in real life, right? So we can reduce all blues in the midtones. Notice it gets more yellow. We can reduce all blues in the shadows. And we can remove all blues in the highlights. And what we're left with is an image with no blue in it, basically anymore. It might have cyan and green, but no blue. All right.
The level of color control is pretty cool.
Right. Not just that, but again, just to reiterate so you guys understand, the adjustment layers automatically come with a mask. So there are a number of ways that you can clip it to exactly what you want. You can create a clipping mask. You can edit the mask, for instance. So I'm going to create a selection. Again, just to illustrate, a quick selection of the face. And for the mask, I am going to select inverse. Let me just do it that way. Select inverse and edit fill black. Let's see if that works. Right. So basically what I did is I adjusted the mask so that the effect of the adjustment layer is only visible in that little circle. We can remove it, we can add it, or we can change it as necessary. Simple enough, right?
Yeah. Some pictures gonna take blues, don't worry.
So
Problem.
what's wrong with the adjustment layers? I want you to master it. All right. And let me know if you have any issues in the next class. Okay.
Really do?
All right.
Yes, sir.
Once we
Yes,
get done with that, the next thing we are moving on to is also, before we continue, I did have a document that I was supposed to use for today. I will probably just send it for you guys in the group chat after class. Okay. The next thing that we'll be looking at after adjustment layers is actually that is where I have smart objects officially. Right. So we'll be looking at linking and embedded smart objects and working with smart objects in a little bit more detail. All right, guys. Before you all go, let me just do a quick roll call. Give me a minute again. All right, so as you hear your name, just say present. Russell Raymond.
Present.
Sarah Chantal.
Yes, sir.
Winston Baptist. No, Iwani Laura. Shine Duran.
Present.
Thompson Rodney. Adrian Peter. Jediah Labadie. Danny Joseph.
Present.
Nathan Joseph.
Present.
Samuel Prosper. Samuel not there? Yes.
So, you know, I always this.
Yes. Shan.
The idea, you know, I just doing that deal.
Shan Matthew.
Present.
Sheldon Benjamin.
Present.
Mikel Lee. Chris Sharma.
Present.
Jean-Marc Hippolyte.
Present.
Daquan Richards. Neil Gist. Bena Bellot. Dixon Vidal. Jordan Jerome. Javid Laura. Benedict Lestrade.
Present.
Jason Toussaint. Jason not there? All right.
That was the idea, you know, I was just doing something there.
All right.
Adrian.
Yeah, Adrian, I have you ready. All right, guys. So that is it for tonight. Any questions before we wrap up?
Everything all clear, listen.
Everything clear? It doesn't have to be
You
on
put
one.
one more time, please.
Excuse me, say that again.
You more.
The homework is to familiarize yourself with adjustment layers. So try using it on a few of your designs, a few of your images, and let me know what you come up with. Let me know if you have any images, any problems using them.
All right.
Give them pictures blows.
Yeah, man, give them loads.
Wheezy them.
That's the end of class for tonight. I will see you guys for the week, almost up already. Next week, Monday. All right.
Yeah.
Feel free to let me know if you all have any
Monday
issues.
Right.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys, take it easy. Have a good night.
Same to you.
Yes, I say good night.
All right, man.
Bless up.